So in the first part of the video, I'm going to share with you my story. I will show you my line progression for the pregnancy, my HCG results for the blood test I took at the doctor's. And in the second part of the video, to make it less sad, I'm going to share with you the story of how I told my husband about that pregnancy. It was our first pregnancy ever, so it was pretty special and exciting to us. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I was going to post another video this week, but one of you reached out to me saying that she's going through a chemical pregnancy. I was really sad to hear that, and I know she wasn't the only one that went through that experience. In this video, I wanted to share my story. Hopefully it will help one of you at least in some way, or encourage you to not give up. So what is chemical pregnancy? Chemical pregnancy is a very early miscarriage where an egg is fertilized but never fully implants in the uterus. It can be confirmed by a pregnancy test at home or a blood test because there's enough HCG to show up, but the baby is not big enough to be shown on the ultrasound because it usually happens before 5 weeks of pregnancy. Chemical pregnancy make up anywhere from 50 to 75% of all miscarriages, but because it's so early on, a lot of women don't even know they were pregnant at that point. I knew, of course, because I was obsessed with testing. At that time we were trying for 6 months and I was testing every chance I could get, hoping I would get that positive sooner. But the positive line showed up for me only at 12 DPO, which is probably average. It's not too early, it's not too late. At 12 DPO, the line was really faint. I could barely see it, but it was enough for me to know that there was a pregnancy. The next day, I took a digital test, and to my surprise, it was positive. So I took a picture with it. It was at 7 a.m., but I was so excited and nervous, I flipped the test upside down. The HCG in your blood is supposed to double every 2 or 3 days. As you can see on this line progression, the line never got darker. So after a few days, when I saw that the line wasn't progressing, it wasn't getting darker, I went to the doctor. And I'm pretty sure I took the blood test twice, but I can't remember the first result. Maybe I was never told the first result. The second result is gonna be right here. It shows that my HCG level is 9. And if you look closer over there, it says non-pregnant is less than 5. So technically I was still pregnant, but it was going away already. And it was only maybe 16 DPO was when I took the test. So it was pretty much 4 weeks, and that's how I knew I had the chemical pregnancy, because it was so early and it was going away. But I did confirm it with the blood test and with pregnancy tests. To my surprise, as far as emotionally, it wasn't too hard for me. I was upset, but I think I was more confused. It was such a new experience to me, and I've never really heard of anything like that happening in real life except the YouTube videos that I watched. So I wasn't sure what to feel. I didn't feel like I connected with that baby that much in order to grieve it. So I was in a weird headspace, but I wasn't like depressed or anything. What I was actually feeling is hope, because for 6 months we were trying and nothing happened. It happened in 2019 and I was 29 at that time. So if you're before 35, it's okay to try for a year, but you know, I was hoping it would happen sooner for us. So for 6 months nothing was happening, and we didn't get tested before. Neither of us knew if we could have children, you know. That pregnancy, even though it ended so soon, was for me was a confirmation that it is possible that I could get pregnant, and it's just a matter of time. So I kept that in mind, and it's good that it gave me hope, because after this pregnancy we didn't get pregnant until a year and a half after. It gave me the knowledge that we could get pregnant. It gave me peace, and God was definitely working in my heart as far as patience go and as far as trust in him goes, because I was trying to take everything in my hands, in my control. This whole time I was trying to try this and try that and those vitamins and these foods and this exercise and this diet, and nothing worked for 2 years. And right now, looking back at it, now 2 years doesn't seem like that long, but when you're in the midst of it, it's going by so slow, and you're just wondering month after month. I think it's been 28 months of no, of you're not pregnant. It's a long time, I won't know why God did it the way he did, but I just know my heart and that I needed that time to appreciate the pregnancy more, to appreciate God and what he's doing in my life. I think that's everything that I wanted to share. Let's get to the nice part. At that time, in October 2018, we were married for a little bit over a year, and it was just a few months after we moved to America from Russia, and we were obsessed with Starbucks. We would go on dates to Starbucks a few times a week sometimes. We were able to go inside and sit there for a while because it was still pre-pandemic time. Play our favorite board games, hang out, talk, drink some coffee, get some star points. So because we liked that place that much at that time, this is how I decided to tell him. Back then we only had one car, so after his work I would have to pick him up and drive him home. But that day I asked if he wanted to go to Starbucks really fast. It was a risk that he would say no. Maybe he was tired, but he agreed. I don't remember the details exactly, but the idea was that I went to Starbucks before I picked my husband up from work, and I wrote on the cup that I'm pregnant in Russian and asked the barista to hold on to the cup until I get there. I didn't know how it was gonna happen, if it would be the same barista there by the time we come, if it would work, but the cup was there, empty, waiting for us to come. So I picked my husband up from work, we drove to Starbucks, we ordered the drink. I volunteered to go pick up the drinks. My husband was at the table, and of course I saw 2 regular cups ready because they had no idea that it was me that left the cup. And I think there was another barista helping us. By the way, we ordered from the app, so it wasn't like I had to tell the barista in front of my husband. When I go to pick it up, it was another barista there, and I asked, do you have that cup that says something? And they were like, I don't know what's going on. But someone from that shift, I guess the morning shift, was there, and they remembered it, and they're like, this cup? And I'm like, yes, can you just pour it in? So they poured it in the cup. I took it and I brought it to my husband and I let him read it, and the look on his face, I've never seen him happier. And he's not an emotional guy at all, so it's not like he was gonna cry. But the happiness that was glowing from his eyes, it was so cute. You can see the picture, it's in Russian, and it says Yura, я чуть-чуть беременна. That means Yura, that's the name of my husband, I'm a little bit pregnant, and a little bit is crossed out. And the reason for the a little bit is because every single month before that we were trying, I felt like I was pregnant. I had some kind of symptoms. So we had this thing between us, oh, I'm always a little bit pregnant, but not for real. So this is why I wrote it. So this is our story. I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to finish this video with one more thing. I was going through my notebook and I found a Bible verse that I was meditating on back then, and I think it's a beautiful verse. It's from Colossians 3:15. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. Some other translations say, let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. So only Jesus can give you that peace. And that's, I think, the most important thing we need as women in these situations, whether it's a chemical pregnancy, early miscarriage, or it's a later miscarriage. We need peace, and that is impossible to achieve without God. And if we don't have peace, it's just so hard to live. Don't you agree? Also, it says, and be thankful. So in this terrible situation, trying to find something that you are thankful for. For me, it was the fact that I did get pregnant. I was thankful that God let me be pregnant at least once, so I had that hope for the future. Find something to be thankful for, because as you probably know and remember, children are a gift from the Lord. So whether He gives us the gift or not, we need to be thankful, because He created us, He created everything around us, and we have a lot to be thankful for. So on this note, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this, and I love you guys all, and I'm so sorry if you had to go through the miscarriage or chemical pregnancy. Just remember, it is not your fault, it's just how it is. We live in a broken, sinful world. God has planned for every single thing that happens to us. So yeah, please share your experiences with me if you want to. I'm also planning to do my 7-week miscarriage story in the future, so stay tuned for that, and have an awesome day, you guys.